guys. Welcome back to Don't Call It a Podcast because it's much bigger than that. With Chrissy, a psychic medium, and myself, Melanie, also a psychic medium. And today's topic is gratitude. And we thought we would discuss gratitude a little bit because it was just Thanksgiving and it is supposed to be a time of gratitude. And but not just to mention though, like gratitude is important all the time, always, you know?
Yeah, I always say it's like a state of mind. Because our brains are naturally programmed to like default setting of being negative. That's like reprogramming yourself and learning to live in the state of gratitude.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to start out with sharing a little bit about how I discovered that I needed gratitude in my life and how to get there, I guess. And basically, I feel that gratitude comes with understanding, okay, that there needs to be an equal give and take. Right. So then that brings us to equality. There needs to be, it's like the yin and yang. There has to be equality in everything for everything to be properly balanced, right? So when you're not grateful or having gratitude, and maybe you're always like complaining and things like that, like I used to be back in the day, you're going to pull in more negative energies to yourself. But also, it's just like having that proper equality in everything is just how everything stays balanced out. I really feel like energetic balance in everything is what really keeps things going.
Yep, it's definitely like the law of attraction. Like what you put out, you receive. And with gratitude, if you continue to just be grateful for the things in your life, you keep getting blessings in your life. Because if you keep receiving all these blessings and you're not grateful, then why would the universe keep doing like giving you blessings? So it's comes down to like even just being able to be grateful for even like the smallest thing in your life. A lot of people focus on like the big things or the receiving things, but it's also like being able, like sitting on your porch, that you have a porch. I'm grateful for my porch. I'm grateful for the birds I get to watch. I'm grateful for the bird seed that I have. Like just it kind of snowball from there of just like the millions of gratitudes that we have in our lives every day.
Absolutely. And I noticed that I started receiving a lot more in my life, blessings wise, gifts, upgrades, opportunities, kind of started pouring in really for real. Because I started appreciating what I already had, no matter how small it was, right? And back in the day, I was a very unhealed individual, right? And I was somebody that was always in the energy of complaining about everything. Like, I'm such a victim. Like, I was trapped in that victim mentality. And when you're caught up in that victim mentality, it's hard to have gratitude because you're too busy being the victim. You're too busy looking at all the negative things and ignoring any positive, good things that may be coming in for you. And then it kind of downplays whatever positive things were coming in. And then after long enough, those things disappear and go away. And then it's just nothing but negative energies, like a cesspool of just negativity constantly coming in, And
Yep.
I had gotten really deep in that. It was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people get stuck in living in lack because, like, growing up, when you become an adult and you're off, like, pushed out of the nest, like, you might not have your dream career, you might not have your dream car, you might not be making the money you want to be making. But when you're grateful for those things, you're gonna get to where you want to be. But if you live in lack and you're so focused on like what you don't have, then that's where you're going to continue to not have it. And it's just
Right.
like, so even when something like bad happens to you or bad happens to you, it's like you have to realize like the universe is working in your favor at all times. Like life happens for you, not to you. And it's having that kind of mindset of like gratitude of like, thank you for not letting me get this job that I thought I wanted because now I have this amazing job, or I met my wife at this job, or and so you just never really know what the universe is working out for you. So just being grateful for everything is kind of just a great way to live. And I started noticing even like the more I'm grateful for like the signs I receive because sometimes you just get to in the habit that like you expect them. But once I started, I'm like, I haven't really been getting my signs as often. I'm like, I stopped being grateful for them for a short period of time. And I literally noticed the difference of just like a lack of signs because, my angels and my guides aren't going to be sending me signs if I'm not acknowledging them and, being grateful for them because that is my guidance.
Right. And I love that you talked about all of that because, when I was deep living in a lower vibrational experience, I say I lost my job, okay? Because I lost some jobs, but then something good came out of that because I got a better job or some other opportunity came through that I wouldn't have been able to receive had I not lost that job. And little things like that happen for me all the time, but I would just continuously focus on the fact, but I lost my job, and
Yep.
it's like, okay, but look forward to the future. Look forward to whatever's coming in next,
Yeah, and it's
And
like
I
keeping
kind of
those
took it
hopes up.
personally.
Yeah. I say that like a lot of time I always got in the habit of like, don't get your hopes up. If you get your hopes up, it's not going to happen. But I'm like, what? No, keep those hopes up. I tell people all the time during readings and just in life, I'm like, keep your hopes up because that hope is your gratitude and your positive thinking about like what you're going to be receiving and because you're grateful for it. And also there is the mindset of like with a manifestation, if you're already grateful for something, that means you already have received it. So it's coming to you or like you have it. So it's like another kind of step of manifestation, but just overall I know when I first graduated like mortuary school I could not get an internship, like a free internship. I couldn't like work for any, I could not find a single place that would take me even just for free. And but through like networking and just even a good reputation, I ended up getting a job working for an organ procurement organization, which ended up being one of the most fascinating and exciting careers I never even knew existed. So, and never knew I would be
Nice.
qualified for. So it was instead of doing, I don't want to say like the mundane, like kind of funeral home stuff, I got to like fly in private jets and go to almost every state in the country recovering organs and tissues. And it was just life saving, it was just so much more meaningful and just so amazing. And yeah, I really thought like I'm gonna have to go back to working like retail or just like waitressing after spending all this money and all this time getting a degree and getting certified and passing my boards and everything. But if I was just patient and I just trusted and something better came along and that's just I'm forever grateful for that time
Wow.
of my life.
What a fantastic example of why we should be grateful, even though we don't know what we're being grateful for. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Because here's the thing, sometimes miracles are being prepared for you because of who you are, what you came here to be, what you came here to do, but you might not know such a thing exists. Like you didn't know that job existed,
Right. I
or
like
that.
assumed it did, but I just never thought about it. Yeah, I didn't even know where to go
Right.
for.
It
Yeah.
wasn't in the forefront of your mind. You weren't thinking of it when you were like, well, I couldn't get a job here, here, and here. So I guess that's it. Oh, well, I don't know. I guess I'll
Yeah.
get a job at Mickey D's or something. Spirit's like, no, 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 no.
Nope, exactly. But yeah, that's even at times like of like stress or even anxiety of like not being able to find a job or not knowing where to move or not knowing the next step of your life. A lot of times like even like panic attacks or like anxiety attacks can get like triggered with that. But I found that like even from someone I've had maybe like three or four in my life, that gratitude's really helped me even at those big pivotal turning points that there's the practice of like bringing yourself back like naming like five things that you can see in your room to kind of like take your mind and your body off that panic. But I always found that like even gratitude's at that time like what am I grateful for in my life right now because it just kind of makes you feel whole again and hopeful again. And I don't know. It's just like one of the practices I've used, especially whenever I do have like high anxiety or, it's the fear of something. It's just like, no, like be grateful for what you have and what these opportunities can bring you, or however,
Yeah.
whatever perspective you want to take on it. It's just like the practice of gratitudes can help with like even, yeah, times like that whenever it seems hopeless.
Right. You know what's funny too? Spirits wanted me to bring up the fact of how you would have never thought this negative Nancy right here would have ever stopped playing the victim that I played for a very long period of the beginning of my life. And even my very close family and friends would tell you the same thing today. Like, I was a professional victim, everything was working against me, it was never my fault. And what happened was, and I want to stress to everyone listening that my spirit guides came through to me, but I did not know that. I did not know I had spirit guides. I did not know they were communicating with me. It just sounded like my own thoughts in my head. And I think that a lot of people discredit their own thoughts in their head. And here it's coming from spirit guides, angels, God, whoever you're connected to, and your higher self, which knows much more than you do in this physical realm, right? And it's
Right.
like my spirit guides and my higher self kept telling me in my own thoughts, be grateful for this. We gave you this to help you. But if you don't be grateful for this, you're just going to bring in more crap into your life. And I kept ignoring it. I kept working against it. And then one day I finally listened. And I was like, you know what? I am really lucky because I could be dead. I could be this. I could have been here. I could be in jail. I could be there. You know what I mean? And realizing in so many situations how I was like saved, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it is just, it's mind boggling now looking back that I stayed stuck in those negative energies. But I want to explain to everybody that when you get caught up in a low vibration and you're carrying a low frequency, you are naturally and energetically pulling in other low frequencies to you, like losing things, getting fired, your car breaking down and not being fixable, and other drama that can come in. You're actually pulling that in with your own energy. And all you have to do is be grateful for everything else that isn't negative, even if it's one thing.
Yeah.
You have one thing to be grateful for. Be grateful for it.
Be grateful
Really
for waking
express,
up.
yes, yeah,
That's a good
really
start.
express your gratitude, man.
Yeah.
It's life changing. It is.
Yeah, that's so true because I think a lot of times like gratitude comes in like hindsight's 2020, gratitude's in hindsight, but maybe that's a good starting point of realizing like, oh my gosh, like yeah, I'm grateful that this happened when this happened, looking back, but it's a good way to even just start getting out of that like low vibration mentality of not seeing your blessings and not seeing what to be grateful for. And that's why I think a lot of people do get thankful and grateful confused because thankful I think is in like the moment, but gratitude and being grateful is like a mindset. And just
Yes.
by starting your day off by like being grateful that you woke up, being grateful you have running water, or being grateful you had a bed to sleep in. Like all those little things just slowly pull you out of that low vibrational victim kind of mentality, or lacking kind of mentality that a lot of people do get stuck in. And everyone goes through a period of their life where they're going to be stuck in that, but it's like again like the default setting for our brain because we find comfort and ease in being negative and low vibration. It's a lot of work to be a high vibrational person and you have to kind of fight through the low vibrational people to be able to have your vibration be high and to be proud of it and to be grateful for it because people want to make fun of you for doing your gratitudes every morning, or but like those are the people that need the gratitudes more than even you do.
And then the other people that talk about expressing gratitude and doing their gratitude meditations every day are rich, successful, independent, happy, living amazing lives.
Yeah.
And they don't care if people are making fun of them because they figured out the secret to success and happiness.
Yeah, and
And
if
they're
people
living
just
it.
yeah, if people just knew how simple it was just to be grateful and just to live in gratitude and to say 5 gratitudes a day is life changing. And no one like I guess our society, our religions, our I don't know, even spiritual beliefs all complicate that stuff. And it's really like I like to go back to simple. Like if I don't like to really do like ceremonial things or feel like I have to like, write my gratitudes down and burn them or anything. I like to just take it back to the basics of just like being in taking a pause, taking a moment of just being like, I'm grateful for this, this, and this. But it doesn't have
Yeah.
to, like, I'll just be walking and like, it snowed at my house today, and I was just like out in my snow boots and I was walking to feed the birds, and I was just like so grateful for like the snow, and the air felt so good. And it was just like taking in that moment, and just being grateful for the season, the change of the season, the holidays coming. They're like, it's like a snowball effect. Like I always like kind of joke
Yeah.
to even my husband, I'm like, it's like Pringles. Like once you pop, you can't stop. It's like a practice.
Yes.
Like once you start this practice, you can't stop because you'll just see gratitudes in everything and all moments of your day, even the bad ones, or I hate saying bad,
Right. Dude,
like
that's
the
hilarious.
lows
And
of your day.
we are not promoting Pringles, guys. I'm just,
Yeah, no. But
but
yeah, it's
you
just
know
kind of
what?
funny because like yeah, you start finding gratitudes in the lows, in the highs of your day, no matter what's
Yes,
thrown at you.
absolutely. And something Spirit definitely wants me to bring up in this is the fact that when you're in a low vibration and you're in that victim mentality mindset, you are literally every day you're in that energy, you're conditioning yourself and forming a habit of being negative. And the longer you stay in it, the more of a habit it becomes, the more of an addiction it
Yeah,
becomes.
that's good. Yeah.
And you can't stop being negative and you live on being negative. Like it's really weird, but I went through it and I know from personal experience that I couldn't go a day without complaining about everything because it was all I knew how to do. And I
Yeah.
had to learn how to break the habit, uncondition myself, if that's even the right way to say that, from the conditioning of teaching myself to always be negative about everything. And after like 25 years of that, that's a long time to
Yeah.
live that way. And it took a long time for me to get out of that. So please don't give up if you're in that kind of energy and you're like, oh, it's never going to work for me. I'm never going to get there. Please don't tell
Yeah.
yourself that because it might take a while, but you will get there. You will. I promise.
Oh yeah, I definitely had the same mindset for decades. I hate to admit to that, like the living in lack, or that like ugh, nothing ever works out in my favor, or like oh this isn't gonna work, or what. Yeah, I'm not gonna get my hopes up because like that's not gonna end up working out the way I wanted it to, or whatever. But like once I started noticing that in myself, and I didn't want to live like that, and I wanted to focus on the positive and the good things in my life. Becoming a parent was one thing that kind of like switched or flicked that switch for me. But like, because I was just like so grateful for him and that he was healthy, and was grateful for my little family and just like the life we were living. And I was like, that kind of opened up my gratitudes more. And then I started like slowly seeing more good things coming into my life and just being a happier person overall. Um, but it is, yeah, it's so easy to kind of get stuck in that lack mentality, and everyone goes through it. It's not just you, it's
Yeah,
not me. It's like every human being goes through it.
everyone.
But
Mhm.
it's just noticing it and pulling yourself out of it. And then once you start raising your vibration and once you start living in gratitude, I like physically am uncomfortable around people who complain all the time. Like my energy
Yes,
shuts
me
down.
too.
I can't even fake a conversation about the weather with someone that's like that low vibration, that like stuck there. And I always want to like help them, be like, hey, let's focus on, like, it might be raining today and we're supposed to go out on a boat or something, but now it's raining and
Not
we can
me.
play these
I
board
immediately
games.
feel like it's a 911 and I got to get out of there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh,
Emergency.
and then when you try to help people that are really low vibration, then they start like getting mad at you for trying to help them, to point out the positive
Yes.
things. And that's whenever it's just like everyone's on their own journey, and like you planted a seed, hopefully, and it's time for you to back away. But oh, complainers, I can't. I'll even say it to their face.
Oh
I
man.
just can't listen to
You
this
know,
anymore.
I pushed a lot of people out of my life back in the day from being such a complainer because if I wasn't around other victims that as soon as I was done complaining, then they started complaining about their stuff. they were cool with it, but anyone else that was higher vibrational didn't like me, couldn't stand me, didn't want to hang out around me. And I would be like, oh, what's their problem? Da, 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 da. I'm a nice person. Da, 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 da. Well, yeah, but you're draining their energy with all your negativity. And I didn't realize that, you know? And
Yeah.
what's really crazy too is spirit started. I held on to the victim mentality and the negative energy for so long because I actually went up into my being 30 years old even. And spirit started literally taking things away from me. I was homeless before, which then made me be grateful for having a shower to take a shower and not be stinky and gross because I couldn't shower because I was homeless. Being able to brush my teeth that I couldn't do when I was homeless. Having a sink to use to wash my hands, having knowing I was going to have my next meal to eat, and things like that. Like I wasn't grateful for any of that. So spirit literally stripped away everything I had, including a home, a roof over my head, to force me to see being grateful and how powerful it is and everything, you know? And I just want to let everybody know that if you feel like when it rains, it pours, you're in the same position I was in. And you really need to wake up to the fact that it's time to start being grateful for what you do have, or maybe what you did have, to try to call that kind of energy back into you.
Oh my gosh, like you just completely blew my mind because I not that I was like I guess technically I was homeless, but I broke up with a boyfriend, we bought a house together, just left everything behind, and then I moved in with like my sister and her husband. And so I just had like a little corner of a room. I didn't even have like a bathroom that like the half bathroom was the one I used, and I have to like wait for them to leave for work and then I could like shower. It was just like a couple months of just like kind of working around other people's schedules, and they did the best to accommodate me. I was so grateful that they took me in. But that's also whenever I realized, like, yeah, whenever you're not grateful for what you have, that's when it gets stripped away. And um, I mean, the relationship was bad, so I was like grateful that that was over. But then,
Right.
but also just like, I left all my stuff, like my first, my Christmas ornament from like my first Christmas that like my grandma gave us, like all of that didn't matter at that time. It was just like so important just like to be stripped away and kind of like start over with new things for many different reasons. But I think one of them was really just like gratitude. I was never really happy with a job. I was never happy in a relationship. I wasn't happy with the house we bought. I wasn't happy with the area we were in. But like we had a beautiful home and it was an okay neighborhood, but like, it was just I don't know. That just kind of blew my mind. Like there's some reflection there it's for me to do of just like where it all kind of started. And from getting out of that relationship and moving in with my twin sister and her husband, I ended up meeting my now husband. And so it's just like that's kind of where maybe like my gratitude shift happened. And yeah, but I didn't really realize it until now, until you're like mentioning it. Because I thought it happened later, but I think it happened right whenever that's my gratitude for getting out of an unhealthy relationship and having, you know, gratitude for the neighborhood I was in and like that he was born and raised in that neighborhood. So of course I, ended up running into him and meeting him and happily ever after. So,
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. It was just yeah, just kind of got my wheels turning a little bit.
Oh, nice. You
Yeah.
know, Spirit took a lot of things to show me because I was just really dead set on staying in that negative energy. It's like I didn't want to let it go because it's what I was used to. I didn't want to make changes. When you're low vibrational, you don't want to make changes. You
Yep.
repel any types of changes that try to come in or happen for you. And it holds you hostage in that low vibration, you know?
Totally, totally. And even like preparing for this uh recording, I did like we both did like a meditation beforehand, and I got like a message which I never really thought about during that meditation, and I think it's like perfectly fits in here, which I didn't realize until we started talking, and I wrote down what I like journaled like what I got as a message, and it's just like two sentences. And it's just like actions have consequences. So positive actions have positive consequences. And like, so I
Yeah.
looked up the definition of consequence because a lot of times, like our culture or like just culturally, like words change meaning. And I think consequences is, I always thought of it as like a negative word or a negative thing to happen, but the definition is a result or effect of an action or a condition. So I don't know, that was just kind of like my food for thought for my meditation of the day. I'm just like consequences, like we can attach a negative meaning to a word that doesn't have a negative definition. And so even whenever you think negative things are happening to you or these negative thoughts, like really think about the meaning of what is being said. Because for me, if I was like, oh, a consequence to an action, I'm like, oh, that means you're being punished. But no, if you have a positive action, you're gonna have a positive consequence. Is this
Yeah.
making sense? It just like it kind of blew my mind to really think about like how many words that we have a neutral meaning and we actually assign a negative one to it because it's easier to make it make sense in a negative context. So when you're talking to yourself or you're receiving messages or you're getting signs, like take the definitive meaning of that word, not the social or like the yeah the our expectation on that word now.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense because everything is energy. So our thoughts are energy. And if you are always, and your words spoken are energy. So if you're always speaking negative words and thinking negative thoughts, you are creating negative energies all around you. And it's like maybe some people don't want to hear this if they're in that low vibration, but you've put yourself there and you're holding yourself there. You're the reason why you lost that job. You're the reason why your car broke down. You're the reason why your life is crap. You got to change your mindset, or the energy is never going to change around you.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Yep. And it just yeah, so I don't know. I just what are some of your practices that you do? Like
Well, I actually was Googling and I picked out the 7 best practices for gratitude. That and I do all of these things and a lot of people do, so they're very commonly known. But for anyone out there that is like, how do I express gratitude? How do I raise my vibration? I don't understand, because when you're in a low vibration you're not going to understand. Things are more confusing. It's 4:44. I just had to point that out.
gotta
But
love it.
yeah, my first one is expressing your appreciation regularly, saying thank you, please, and thank you, being courteous and acknowledging other people's kindness towards you instead of just blowing it off. Like somebody, your friend shows up to work and has a hot plate of food for you, and you forgot lunch money that day. So they stopped by and saved your butt because now you got something to eat, but you just scarf it down and just go back to work and don't even think twice about the nice gesture. Stuff like that. It's the little things.
Yeah, like holding the door for somebody. Like, sometimes it can be an awkward encounter, but then like maybe that person just needed that like little laugh for that day that like, you fumbled
Yes.
or yeah, to like hold the door. It just that little
I like
interaction.
to do that.
Yeah, and
I like
sometimes
to
that might
hold
be
the
the
door
only
for strangers. I like to, when I'm walking past somebody in public and they look really sad, because I read energy and I'm psychic
Mhm.
and I can look at someone and see in their face how they're feeling. I can look into their eyes, see into their freaking soul. And I see people passing me by that look just devastated, right? Or it feels that way. And I'll give them a big smile and they'll smile back at me so big and so bright, like
Yep.
for instance, I live in a really scary area. Okay, there's a lot of, it's like the hood. And um there's a lot of drug addicts around here that wander around. And I was out going on a walk and I passed this young girl. She could have only been 20 or so, and she just looked really beaten down, by life. And she just looked so devastated and depressed, and she was staring down at the ground. And as we approached each other, she looked up because we had to kind of go around each other, and I was like, hi, and I gave her a big smile, and she just lit up and was like, hi. And then we passed, and I felt like in that moment she felt better for 1 second. I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain that
No,
anymore, but it
totally.
was just
Yeah.
that gesture of me just acknowledging her. Maybe no one in her life sees her,
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
And
so true.
we do not know what other people are going through.
Hmm.
So those small, kind gestures could change someone's life and you wouldn't even know because you'll be like, well, all I did was smile at them, you know?
Right.
But
Yep.
it can really change people's life. It can.
They can, for sure. And like even like I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, and our culture there was like you pass someone on the sidewalk, you look at them and smile, or you say hi or something.
Oh,
But then I moved to Philadelphia, and when you do that, like people think you're trying to mug them or like you look like a psychopath. But it's also like that's a them problem, not a me problem, because I'm just doing it out of the kindness of my heart. If they want to think I'm being psycho, that's fine. But
right.
like, yeah, it's like, but you just never know who you might change or what the day you might change their day just by doing that, you know? So
Yes.
yeah, so even if it's out of your comfort zone or just, I don't know, socially awkward people like myself, it's yeah, you can make a difference with just saying hi to somebody.
Yeah, you definitely can. So the next thing I jotted down was showing thoughtfulness. Going deeper into that, showing small acts of kindness towards others for no reason and not expecting anything in return is a big one. Don't go do something nice for somebody because you're hoping they're going to pay you or give you something. Just do it to do it, you
Yeah,
know?
that's what
Um,
expectations ruin relationships or
yeah,
ruin experiences. Like if you have an expectation all the time and it's your expectations aren't being reached, it's not the activity or the gift, it's you because you're setting this expectation which no one's ever going to reach anyone's expectations ever. So one thing I
right.
always do, like I'm grateful for an invite somewhere, but I have no expectations on what it's going to be like to go, or I'm grateful
Yeah,
for a gift I received even though I make sure I have no expectations of what it is because I'm just grateful that the person thought of me. They even wrapped the box. I'm like, that's more effort, that they gave. Like, I'm grateful for to be able to unwrap it. It's just like it can really just snowball to like that kind of level of just like gratitude of just the experience of, people or gift giving or anything. So I don't know, kids knowing
absolutely. And
that.
it's all about showing people you truly care, truly, wholeheartedly care about them and making them feel valued.
Hmm.
Make people in your life, if they make you feel that way, why aren't you giving that back? There should be an equal reciprocity there, you know?
Yep. Yep.
So next one, be an active listener. Shut up and listen sometimes because people need that. Okay.
Yes.
Make somebody feel so heard that you healed them in that conversation.
Yep.
Let them talk and just listen.
Just listen.
You don't always have to give input.
Yeah,
Some
so
people
many
just need to be heard.
people just don't value the act of just listening. And like the act of listening of just like not just hearing, because I think there's a big difference between hearing and listening. And I think a lot of people have a listening problem that they will hear you speaking, but like when there's validation that they heard you, like really listen to what you were saying, like that makes you feel so loved and there's security in that. And yeah, that only makes a
Especially
bond.
now
Yeah.
where everybody's buried knee deep in their cell phone screens.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
out in public and everyone driving, everyone walking is, my phone's doing the thing, but they're like this. And it's like, I feel like I could like walk down the street naked and no one would even notice me. It's
I
that
know.
severe.
Except for we're the ones saying hi to
So
everyone.
making someone feel seen, heard, valued, and cared about these days is off the charts more important than ever before. I'm sorry,
And
it just is.
it's easy to do. Yeah, it's really not that hard to make someone feel that way. It just people always expect it to cost money or be a big grand, gesture, but it's the small things that really do matter.
It really is. So the next thing is doing something nice for someone that does something nice for you. So, what are some good examples of this? Can you think of any good examples of this right off rip?
Oh yeah, like my husband and son just emptied out, like brought all the groceries in and put them away while I just like ran inside, went to the bathroom and came back out and they were like, already done. Like it just, I didn't have to ask them. And it's just because I pack my son's book bag every morning. And it's just like kind of the reciprocal kind of give and take of helping, like anything to make my day easier. They know I hate grocery shopping. I hate everything about it. I hate carrying the groceries in. I hate putting them away. And, but I'm the one that does it 99% of the time. So this one time with like a big grocery order with the holidays and everything, I was just like, yeah, I was just over it. I wanted to hang my coat up. I was just like, I'll get them in a minute. But then yeah, took a quick break and came back out and it was already done. I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so loved in that moment. I was like, you guys know how much I hate doing this. And they were both home and both available to do it. Because usually I grocery shop while they're at work or at school. But it was just like kind of a nice little treat that they did that for me. And yeah, so not everything costs money.
Right. And, we all have at least one family member or friend or even an acquaintance that has done something, one thing nice for us. And you could be like, you know what? I remember Susan did this really nice small gesture for me 5 years ago. So I'm going to bake her a pie and take it over there or whatever,
Right.
It's like, it's okay to reciprocate the kindness back, even if it was years ago that the person did something nice for you.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
people don't have to consistently do nice things for you to be like, okay, well, now she's done 10 things for me. I'll do one thing for her. It doesn't have to be like that,
Yeah, because it's not always 50-50. Sometimes you'll give and give and give, and then other times you'll receive, receive, receive. So trying to have that like tit for tat kind of like back and forth 50-50 is unrealistic. Within friendships, within any kind of relationship that like, yeah, even like marriage, it should be like sometimes you're giving, sometimes you're the one receiving. It's just like you really need to just understand that like it always balances out in the end, you know?
Yes,
Don't keep score.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next thing is keeping a gratitude journal or writing gratitude letters. So if you don't want to keep a constant journal, you can just write out a letter every, once a year, every 6 months, every 3 months, however often you feel you need to do it. It's different for everybody. But you could just write out on a piece of paper everything that you've received that you're really grateful for. And then you can kind of look over that list and reflect.
Yep.
And I think like doing like a 6 month or a year one is really great. But I think keeping a gratitude journal is great too. Every day write down one thing that you were grateful for. And then at the end of the year, go back and reflect over all of that.
Yeah, I think that's great. But even whenever I first started getting into the practice and the habit of doing daily gratitudes, I started writing them on my mirrors and like dry erase marker. And not that I would forget to do them, but sometimes it's just like, as I'm brushing my teeth, I would just read the 5 things that I wanted to be grateful for that day or that week. Even like my son's bathroom, I would write his gratitudes for him just so he gets in that practice too. And it's just, they're good reminders, and then you can change them when you want to, or it's a reminder to start your day with gratitudes because then throughout the day you'll find yourself saying gratitudes for other things. But yeah, just writing them down is a great practice just because seeing is believing for humans. And when you see what you're grateful for on a piece of paper or on a mirror or wherever, that makes a big difference. But I just think like to start a practice of daily gratitudes, and it doesn't matter what time of day you do them. It's just like for me, it was just nice to have them written on my mirror. So when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, it was my reminder to start my day off with gratitudes and continue the trend throughout the day.
Yeah, and I do something similar. I used to do post-it notes and stick them around, but now that I remember to be, because it's a process, and I know
Yeah.
you're there now too. You remember to be grateful, but like I said, it's a conditioning thing. You have to like teach yourself, remember to be grateful. So we need reminders because we're living life, and there's so much going on with work and paying bills and going grocery shopping and putting gas in the car and keeping up with everything that we have to like remind ourselves, which is fine. It's okay to
Right.
forget about it and have to be reminded. Doesn't mean you're a bad person or anything, right? But I have a calendar behind me and I write on it every day what I have accomplished. And at the top of the calendar, I wrote out several affirmations and I read them every day at some point. I might forget to read it first thing in the morning, so I might read it before I go to bed, or I might read it in the middle of the day. But as long as I look at those every day, it's like I'm constantly building on because, I'm grateful for where I am. So I want to continuously use these affirmations to stay in this positive energy, right?
Yeah, that's like even on my mirror, I used to write my to-do list, and then instead of my to-do list, it's like my gratitude list. And even having it on the calendar, I think is amazing because you can reflect back and look back on like what you're grateful for a year ago or 6 months ago, and like, oh my gosh, like look at where I am now, or look how much more of that I have now, or that I've attracted, or anything. So I think a calendar is a wonderful idea.
Yeah. And, ever since I started writing down every day everything I accomplished with like, because I work from home and I'm my own boss. And so I like to keep track of what I'm getting done since no one else is keeping track. It makes me feel accomplished.
Yeah.
And it puts me in a more positive energy. And then I can be grateful for the fact that I'm getting stuff done. I am always growing and expanding because I'm always working at what everything I'm doing, everything I'm creating. And it's just a daily reminder I'm so grateful. I'm working, I'm completing things, I'm setting goals and finishing them. And then I keep the calendar pages because they're rip-offs. And then at the end of the year, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look over everything. And I did that last year too. And I would have never realized how far I came if I wasn't doing that and didn't
Mhm.
look back over because you don't remember what happened 12 months ago because that was 12 months ago. But if you
Right.
write it down, you can go back and look,
Yeah, and
you
time doesn't make
know?
sense anymore. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard to reflect back. I'm like, that was a year ago. That wasn't 3 years ago.
right.
So
Like, wait, was
yeah,
that yesterday or 8 months ago? I don't know.
yeah, like, yeah, trying to timestamp things, but like it even gives like not that like it gives additional meaning to your day, and
Yes.
that you can like see, yeah, accomplishments, or just if you just rested, just put rest, like I because that's an accomplishment of
Oh my God. You're so psychic. Every day that I take off and just rest, I write rested really big
oh
on
no
that
way.
calendar day because I'm not going to leave it empty because getting rest is self care and that's just as important as getting work done.
Yeah, oh definitely, yeah,
And then
that's
I'm
what.
grateful. Like, oh my gosh, I had 6 days last month where I got to do nothing but rest. I am so grateful that I was able to take 6 whole days off that month and just rest. That's
Yep.
another thing to be grateful for?
For sure, because our society doesn't value rest. It values busyness. And I'm like, I don't want to be busy. Like, I'm grateful to not be busy when I'm not busy, because who wants to work more hours, and who wants to be away from their family more? Well, I guess some people, but just like, yeah. But yeah, our culture just doesn't value rest. And I think rest is a huge accomplishment. And I think it's almost like a privilege to have days of rest. And then people don't think of it that way. They think of like, ooh, like you have nothing to do that day, that, I feel bad for you. But only the privileged have days of rest. And I just, yeah, I'm happy to hear that you have days of rest, because I take them too. I schedule them if I notice I'm not getting one. I'm like, I'm ready. I actually wrote nothing on my calendar last month because I'm like, nothing. I'm not doing a thing. Like that's okay.
I love
Like,
it.
don't schedule anything. Yeah, but I didn't write rest. I just wrote nothing.
I think I did that a couple days, a month or two ago, because it was the mood I was in. It wasn't that I needed rest. I just didn't want to do anything for a day. I just
Yeah.
wanted to play video games and listen to music and just whatever,
Yeah.
because it's okay to do that. Just want to throw that in there. It's okay
Oh
to
yeah,
take
I
a
heard
me
the
day.
saying. I literally like live by the saying. It's like, time is not wasted if you're enjoying yourself. So if you're enjoying yourself, like rotting on the couch with like your cat watching like reality shows or playing
Yep.
video games or yeah, just sleeping, taking naps all day. Like that's time's not wasted. You're enjoying that time. So as long as you're enjoying yourself, you're not wasting time. So I just to
Exactly.
me, once I heard that saying, and I was like, oh my gosh, it took a lot of pressure off of me to like to just my own expectations for myself. And so as like a parent or a wife, I'm like, no, I'm enjoying myself. I'm okay with this.
Right. So the next thing I have is right up your alley. Chrissy is the meditation queen. We'll say goddess because she is like really mastered meditation for herself personally, and the experiences and the visions and the things that she has in meditation blows my mind, and I can't wait to learn to be better at meditating.
I can't
But
wait to teach more because I love meditating, and the max I do is like 30 minutes a day. Like a lot of people when I tell them I meditate, they're like, or like what I see or what I messages I get, they think it's like I'm meditating for like hours a day. And 30, well, my favorite one's 31 minutes. But yeah, it's around 30 minutes a day, and I just yeah, I can't wait to teach you more.
oh, that's crazy. 31 minutes. So I always see 13 and 31 because of my dad, basically.
Oh,
He
that is your
um
dad's number. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember why oh, he died on May 31st. So I always see 31. That's the day he died. And then his favorite number was 13. And everybody back in the day thought 13 was like a demonic, like 666. And my dad was always like, that's my favorite number because it's a positive number, and he was actually right.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's just funny you said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I was reading and it was talking about gratitation. Gra- I just said two words together.
That's a new word.
Gratitude meditations. Have you ever done a gratitude meditation?
Oh, all the time. My favorite place to do it, like I usually do my gratitude meditations while I'm walking or just outside. That's my favorite place to do them. Inside, it's usually more about like an intention or like guidance or something. But like when I'm doing like just gratitude meditations, for whatever reason, it's always pulls me outside and like just even sitting on my porch or, taking a walk, like a small hike in the woods or just a walk in my
Yeah.
neighborhood. It's just that's whenever I usually find that the gratitude meditations that come out because yeah, those are
Oh
usually
my gosh,
powerful.
you made me realize I do gratitude again and
Gratitude.
again. I do that when I channel, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Gratitude meditations every day I go for, well, I don't go every single day, but I try to. But when I go on a walk, I'm literally out there looking at and being like, wow, the sky is so big and beautiful. And look at
Right.
those clouds and look at that beautiful blue. And oh, look at those birds. And dude, I do.
Just
And
like I'm
I
so
just, you
grateful
made me
for this
realize.
day and like yeah like today I was even just cleaning the car the snow off my car and I was like I'm so grateful for my car. I love it. It's like 100 years old but I love that car. I'm just so grateful for it. And this like in that moment I just got home from a road trip and the whole time I rode in the car with my family didn't even think about my gratitude for it until I was like cleaning the snow off of it this morning. And little things like that will hit you at different times and just like yeah just being outside I'm like oh my gosh I'm so grateful for this day, the sun shining, and like I'm grateful for the birds at my bird feeder because I could just I'm an old lady I could just sit there and watch them forever.
I'm a bird watcher too. I don't know. All of a sudden, I just am.
I know.
It must be like it's like spiritual for me.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
I'll
know
bring
if
my
it is
lunch
for
outside and
everybody,
just
but
and I'll fill up the bird feeder and just like sit there and eat my lunch and watch them. I'm like this is weird.
yeah. Well, we're twinsies.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wanted to mention too about the gratitude. I almost did it again. Gratitation. Is that a word? Probably not. Gratitude meditation. If you are like how I was a few years ago, where I was like, don't tell me to meditate. I have no idea how to do that. You can listen to a gratitude meditation that was pre-recorded. YouTube is great for that, but there are many other platforms out there that you can listen to pre-recorded meditations. They're called guided meditations. Pick one out that's about gratitude, or you can listen to pre-recorded sound frequencies that are meant to put you in gratitude, because sound frequencies can put you in certain energies. So look up the ones for gratitude. If you don't feel you have it, you know how to meditate, or you just can't, you can let someone else do the work for you and just listen in.
Yeah. And with the gratitude meditations, I would recommend nothing more than like 10 minutes. And yeah, to also set an intention. Because like you don't want to just be like stuck in gratitude. Like too much of anything's not a great thing. Like too many vegetables or like anything. Like
Great
you can
point.
yeah, you
Mhm.
can die from too much water. Just like so too much of a good thing can kind of end up kind of being your blockage in a way. I just have a visual of like cement feet, like you're just like kind of stuck because you're so stuck in gratitude. But like that's why I just make it like a quick daily practice, like just part of your daily
Yeah.
routine instead of like you don't want to become obsessed with it. But you'll catch yourself in those moments, like the ones we're talking about, like being outside, cleaning off the car. Those are from my practice of gratitude daily that just becomes a moment of my day, not my entire day. And it just you catch yourself in those yeah, just little like happy moments of like, oh, I am grateful for this. Oh, this is a wonderful moment. Like, oh, like, what a peaceful morning. Just stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's just yeah, it doesn't have to so I would just say if you're doing a meditation, no more than 10 minutes and it's
Once a day,
yeah, once a day or even
maybe
every
even
other day. Like, but once you
maybe
start
some
doing it,
people once a week. I mean, people need to gauge how much they feel they need, I guess, because
yeah,
everybody's
I
different.
think the meditation's
But
even a good start, you know?
I'm glad you brought that up, Chrissy, because I wouldn't have even thought to say that. So that was great, because you made me think about how I got really obsessed with trying to be grateful for everything, because I wanted more success to come in for me. And I got really obsessed with trying to open up to my gifts and abilities, that I actually ended up blocking blessings from coming in and created multiple blockages because I was overdoing all of it. So be careful not to do that, guys, because
Well, no, it sounds like
it
you're
will
even doing like,
happen.
yeah, you're doing gratitude out of fear, and it should be out of love and out of accepting and just out of peace. And I don't try
Well,
not
you
to use the
tapped
word
right into me,
gratitude.
because I was like, oh no, if I don't express gratitude, I'm gonna ruin my destiny. And so then I
hmm
started overdoing it to the point where I exhausted myself.
Yeah.
And then I had to take a step back and be like, okay, what am I doing wrong here? I'm way overly grateful. Why is this not good enough? Oh, because it's too much. Dial it
Yeah.
back a little bit, you know?
Yeah, and if you don't want to do a meditation, like just listening to your favorite song. My favorite song is Mbop from Hanson. No judgment, please.
You're so
Like
cute.
it just the words I think just are so meaningful. It's such a happy tune. Like I had it played at my
Chrissy has a
wedding
crush on
a couple times.
Hanson.
Yeah. I know. And I ended up like marrying a bald man, but I was always in the like guys with long hair. I don't get it. But but yeah, I guess I'm grateful I don't have to find his hair all over the bathroom too now, but or like have to share a
Hilarious.
hairbrush. But yeah.
Bop, doo, da,
But like
da,
just sitting and
doo,
like,
wop.
yeah, listening to your favorite song, just just sit there and you don't have to have a thought. Like just like clear your mind and listen to your favorite song. That just like kind of brings up that emotion and that feeling of gratitude and happiness and just kind of starts your day off in a positive way or yeah, wherever you are in your day, whenever you get that chance to do that.
Absolutely. So the last one is my favorite: volunteering and or donating. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You can publicly volunteer and donate, like donate to a charity, volunteer at the homeless shelter, or you can volunteer or donate your time and energy to those around you, right? Say your grandma um is, living by herself. So you check in on her once a week, bring her a bag of groceries, or just little things like that. That is volunteering and donating your time, energy, and effort to another human being.
Yeah.
So maybe you can't afford to donate to the charity that you wish you could, to the Cancer Society, because you don't have money like that, but you could go volunteer your time and work there for a couple days or something. You know what I mean? Like there's ways you can volunteer and donate
Yeah.
where it's not like you having to pay large amounts of money to, help somebody. It's not always about money.
It's not always about money, and like money is energy, so that's like an energy exchange that like you donate money and you get like that energy of like, feeling like you made a difference and like you did a great thing, which it does, I don't want to take away from money donations at all, but like whenever you donate your time is more valuable than anything. Your time is something you can't buy, you can't get back. Like donating your time is it doesn't even have to be anything major. It could be like cutting, yeah, your neighbor's grass while they're on vacation and just like not charging them, or then they'll like then you just never know the energy exchange. They'll like drop off like a thank you basket, or if they don't, who cares? It'll come back to you in another way. But just like um those acts of service are so important to even make you grateful that like you're not in that need. Like so you're physically healthy and capable of cutting your own grass. So you don't have to rely on someone, but also your neighbor is grateful for you because you cut their grass and they were able to go on a vacation. So whenever it's your turn, maybe they'll reciprocate it, then you can be grateful for being on the vacation. It's just like it's like this never ending kind of like um I would say hamster wheel too of just like of energy whenever you donate your time.
Yeah, like the pay it forward,
Yeah,
which remember when
yeah.
that was a really big thing and everyone was, because there was like some movie that they made about the pay it forward, and then it made everybody talk about it and it was all over social media. Like I wish people were still talking about that because it's a beautiful thing, the whole pay it forward. Like you're in line at the grocery store and the person in front of you like realizes they brought the wrong bank card that has no money on it, but they've got three screaming toddlers in their cart, so you pay for their groceries, like, and then something good will happen to you down the road. Maybe it won't come back from that same person you helped, but it will come back in another way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, pay it for that. Yeah, that and I think so many people do get stuck on it, like in like the McDonald's line or the Starbucks line is like the pay it forward, but like and it's to be implemented in other aspects of our lives too, because yeah, that's a powerful movement. And
It
actually,
is,
that's just
and
energetically, that's how life works, is that like you,
yeah.
yeah, you put out something good and it's going to come back to you, but you just don't know from which direction. It's not always from the source that you put it into.
Right. And if more people would be more concerned with paying it forward than receiving,
Yeah.
our world would be a much better place. I'm
Yep, and
just
just being
saying.
grateful that you have the money to pay it forward or to be able to pay for that person's groceries. And maybe you're grateful that you don't have three screaming kids, or maybe, it's just like but like you just never know what that gratitude's going to bring you, and that's kind of the excitement of life. It's just like you're living in a positive, high vibrational way, and that you know that only good's coming to you, no matter what seems to be happening around you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like kind of the purpose of gratitude. It's just to keep, yeah, keep that
Yeah,
flow going.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I jotted down the last few things here about why practicing gratitude can be beneficial. Okay. And I only jotted down one, two, three, four, five things, but there is so much more. Google it for yourself if you'd like to see.
Or
But
meditate on it and you'll be told.
yeah, yeah, you don't always have to use Google, but Google is a great place to find
Yeah.
good information and it's free, it's at our fingertips, you know. But I just thought these were like some really important ones. So the first thing I put down was when you are expressing gratitude when you express gratitude for one thing in that moment, it makes you feel happier.
Yeah.
So if you only felt happy for a moment, maybe you're never happy, and that one moment of happiness was like life changing, or it shifted your energy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Or shifted, yeah, shifted your perspective of the day and that you just approach it in a different way. So you might have woken up on the wrong side of the bed, but then you're have, you see a cardinal and that makes you happy and you're grateful that you saw that sign and that like you're like, you know what? This is gonna be a great day. You just never know how
Yeah,
just
like,
that
oh,
little,
I'm so glad I got up out of bed today because I saw that cardinal and I know it was my grandmother that passed. And that just made my whole rest of my week because I miss my grandma, you know?
yeah. And like I know she's with me or I know she's thinking of me or yeah, just your perspective can change with just a single gratitude.
Absolutely. So the next thing I put was having gratitude can create a lasting effect on your mood. So the more grateful you are, the more you express gratitude in an elongated time, you start becoming happy all the time. So if
Right.
you're someone that's in a low frequency, you're going to be feeling more things like depression and sadness, anger, pain, regret. And the more gratitude you express, the more it lifts you up out of that energy into more positive frequencies where you can feel happy all the time and not just in a moment here and there.
That's so true because like once I started my gratitude practice to the extent, especially that I do it now, just like it's a part of like my thought process that like I don't have bad days anymore. I might have a day that I don't love, but like I can always find something to be grateful for or some kind of positivity, some blessings, just in my every day. So I literally never say like today was a bad day. Like, oh, today was maybe a challenging day, but it's never a bad day because there's always something to be grateful for.
Yeah, definitely. So this one's interesting. It can help you sleep better.
I
I
agree
feel
with
like
that.
that's true, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I feel like that has to be true because, like, well, there's a
Just not
peace
sure
of
why.
mind.
Maybe because when you're in positive energy, you're healthier, your mindset is healthier. When your mind is healthy, you can rest better, you can sleep better. But when people have insomnia, what's the main cause? Racing thoughts, racing
Yeah,
negative thoughts creates insomnia. So when you have positive, happy thoughts, you should be sleeping better, right?
yeah, for sure. And like, yeah, because that fear of the interview tomorrow or the fear of finances or that's what we get stuck on. But those are going to be there no matter what. That's why I say like worry is waste. Those things are out of your control. So try to take that moment and just be like, I trust that the universe is taking care of those things for me and just kind of try to remember to like lay in gratitude or just yeah, catch yourself. That's why I say like it's our default setting. You have to retrain your brain. It's a state of mind of gratitude because you could your state of mind could be fear or lack or
Mhm.
negativity or just yeah whatever you want to set it as. But if you change it to just yeah to gratitude, then those thoughts don't have as much power and as much meaning whenever they creep in because those are like yeah the invasive thoughts, not the
Yeah.
factual ones. And the facts
Yeah.
are the things that you have and are grateful for.
I can't express enough how much mental conditioning is a huge importance here and has to be done.
Has to be
And
done.
only you as an individual person can mentally condition you. I mean, I guess we can be conditioned from things outside of ourselves, but only you can change your frequency. Only you can raise your vibration. Only
Yep.
you can change those negative thoughts.
Yep. And it's totally just yeah, retraining your brain and it's free. You don't need
Yeah.
therapy. You don't need a guru. You don't need any just like just starting that practice on your own. It's yeah, it's free and it's life changing.
So the next thing I got was expressing more compassion and kindness. So it makes you kinder. Not that saying that you whoever you are, you're not kind already, but like it brings you into this. mode of just always being compassionate towards everything and everyone and being kind to everything and everyone, because even people that it seems like, oh, don't be nice to them, they're a jerk, they don't deserve it. Hey, you don't know what they're going through behind the scenes.
Yeah, it
You
totally makes
know,
you more
you never
compassionate.
know what somebody is going through in their personal life. So think twice before you are mean and nasty to someone in the grocery store because they're being a jerk, because maybe someone they love just died. Maybe, something really horrific happened to them, and they don't know how to deal with it. So it's coming out of them in a negative way.
Yeah, that's so true. Because like whenever you change your perspective on your life and you start seeing your actions as like reactions and you want to start reacting in a more positive way, or you start noticing more things to be grateful for in your life, then with that perspective change on yourself, when you're in public, you can see the person that cut you off like on the highway. They might have an emergency that they're trying to get to, or maybe they're late for a really important, like even family dinner, or I mean, it might not seem something that's important to you or that like you would really race to do, but for them, it's like changing that perspective that that is something that is important to them, or even just I don't know, that's just they enjoy driving like that. I don't know. You can just change your perspective on anything once you can change it on yourself, because self-reflection is the hardest. It's so easy to sit
Yeah.
and judge other people and be like, I wouldn't do that way. I don't, I wouldn't go to that school. I wouldn't take that job. But like whenever you start doing that on yourself and you can see the different perspectives of your reality, your life, and your gratitudes, then it flips the script on every single person around you. Because I definitely like even just encountered someone who just like instantly didn't like me. And I'm like, that's fine. But I honestly like love that interaction because it was almost just like fascinating to see her perspective of me, because I was so aware of it because I I'm so aware of like my perspective of the multifaceted person that I am, that like I know not every version of myself and even my whole self isn't going to relate to somebody. But I didn't, instead of like getting offended or defensive, I was just like, I understand why, because like I could see her perspective and I saw my own perspective of her, and it's like we just weren't meshing people and it's fine. But it's just
Yeah.
it came from training my brain on how to be just grateful and self-aware, and those kind of go hand in hand.
Definitely. And while you were talking about all that, you made me think of just a really quick little story I want to share with everybody, because like she was saying, you just don't know, the smallest thing can be really important to someone, and you might be like, why is that important? But it doesn't matter. You don't need to understand. It's important to that person. And when I was in rehab for my drug addiction, my boyfriend at the time brought me up 6 red roses, and it meant so much to me at that time. And I left the bouquet wrapped in plastic with no water on the table in the kitchen area, and then we all had to go to class. And it slipped my mind that I needed to put them in water so they didn't die. And I freaked out in the middle of class and was like, I have to go put these roses in water or they're going to die. And my teacher was like, you can wait until after class. It's not that big of a deal. And I freaked out so bad that they sent me to the office, like the principal, but in the rehab. And the lady she handled it so beautifully. She was like, sweetheart, what is the matter? And I was like crying and just, my roses are going to die. Not even making sense. And she was like, go put your roses in water and you can get back to class. And like her doing that was life changing for me just in that moment, but it mattered so much.
Yeah,
And it's like my teacher didn't understand how important it was that if I didn't get those roses in water, I was not going to be okay, right?
right.
And it didn't matter why. That was just me and my world at that time and how important it was to me. And the woman that allowed me to go do it, I was like, I couldn't even have been any more grateful. Like I wanted to like pay her for letting me do it. I was that grateful, and it
Yeah.
meant the world to me. It did.
But it's also,
And
you realize like in the story, like that, like the difference was one person didn't listen and the other person did. And yeah, just her listening to you made a difference. Like, look at the impact it made on you, and that's an
Yeah,
important, like,
I felt heard
memory.
and
Yeah.
seen, and I felt like what
And
I wanted
human.
mattered, you
Yeah.
know? And I tell you what, the whole rest of my day was better for it.
Yeah.
Had I not been able to put them in water, I would have had a horrible rest of my day. It would have been all negative. You know
For
what I mean?
anxiety and like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like looking back, I'm like, oh, that was kind of stupid. I cared that much about the roses, but it meant that much to me back then.
You were so
I didn't
grateful for
have
that.
any
Yeah.
guys getting me flowers all the time. So it was a big deal, you
Yeah, you were
know?
grateful for that gesture and that the roses were just a symbol
Yeah.
of the gesture and the feeling that you got. And your teacher just couldn't understand that, but that's because she only has a one perspective of what's important to her. So she can't understand that like you're that grateful for those roses.
Yeah.
And
And it's like the roses weren't going to die over 30 minutes, but
yeah,
that wasn't the point.
that wasn't
And
the
so my
point.
teacher was like, the roses aren't going to die. It's going to be fine. But it wasn't, that wasn't the point. You know,
Yeah.
it was like, you're making me feel like I'm not being heard. I'm not seen. What I want's not important, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So yeah, just another lesson of listening.
So this last one I got is really interesting. Being grateful and having gratitude regularly for a period of time can help strengthen and build up your immune system.
I believe that. Just like how it helps with like panic attacks and stuff. I feel like it
Yep.
really does help with our physical well-being and emotional well-being, mental well-being. It's the
I
whole,
don't have panic attacks anymore.
yeah, I haven't had one probably in like 20 years. Yeah.
I used to have them all the time over every situation that went wrong. Panic attack, it was my
Yeah.
go-to,
Yeah.
you know? It's not that I enjoy panic attacks, but I just thought if once I was finished having the panic attack that I had like done something or like, I don't know, it just felt like it was necessary, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. I think with even, oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. That's my wrestling alarm. But yeah,
I
even
didn't even
with
hear
like,
it.
yeah, okay. But even with like with panic attacks and stuff, it's like the fact that you would want to just get through it, it's because like yeah, just that you're grateful that it was over. It was almost an anticipation of it coming on. And I think that even like has a lot to do with like people expecting the worst and getting the
That was
worst.
me.
Yeah. So that's yeah, once you change, yeah, actually I was just thinking like maybe it's probably been like 15, well, 18 years or so since I've had like a panic attack. My last one was whenever I graduated mortuary school and I could not get an internship. And I just remember sitting on my apartment front steps with my sister. I'm just like, what am I gonna do? Like, was this a big waste of time? Just like thought the world was like crumbling in on me, not understanding in that moment, just to be grateful for that pause because I was about to be very busy for a very long time. And yeah, so I just, yeah, with panic attacks and with, yeah, just like insomnia, I just think, yeah, gratitude can
Oh
really
my gosh.
reset your
The
brain.
universe blessed you with off time so that you could rest and prepare for what was to come, but you just didn't know that.
Yep, I had no idea.
And here you were freaking out when you were actually receiving a blessing in
Yeah.
disguise.
Because also we're so trained to be busy, busy, busy. I was like graduating and I had nothing lined up. And it's like, that's not allowed in America, Like you
Yeah,
gotta have your next 5 steps planned out just in case, 1 to 4 doesn't work out. So because it's always on to the next, instead of just like kind of sitting in that moment of just like, look what I accomplished. You're about to be super busy. So
yeah. And I
yeah.
just have to add to all of that that, for anyone out there listening, if you are one of those people like I used to be, where you feel like if you don't assume the worst in every situation, then you won't be prepared for it, you're creating it by doing that. And you
Yeah.
need to stop.
Yep.
You need to stop.
Yep. For sure. So I don't know, I guess our takeaways are just, yes, just start practicing the gratitudes in the big things and the little things. I love your
Absolutely.
calendar idea. I think that's going to help a lot of people. Yeah, my beginner idea is just writing them on the mirror and journaling them. Journaling is always a great way to get it out and just to physically see your own thoughts and feelings. So that works for a lot of people. But yeah, just doing some meditation, gratitudes as well. Nothing
Absolutely.
more than 10 minutes because yeah, you don't want to get too obsessed with it, which it sounds like talking about it, I'm like, I feel like we're being contradictory of saying like I'm obsessed with it, but like it becomes just like, yeah, like maybe,
Just becomes a part of your daily life.
yeah, just your
You just
daily
know to
thought
be grateful.
process. Yeah. And it's not, yeah,
And
it's not, I don't
it's no
even, yeah,
longer an obsession, it's just a part of daily life, and there's a difference in the energies.
yeah. Like I just, and sometimes like just driving, I'm like, you just look at, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for whatever I'm going to, or yeah, it's a different, it's a mindset that definitely changes. And when you feel that shift and you stop doing the practicing of manifesting or gratitude, when you feel that shift of just like it happens without even thinking about it, like that is something to be so proud of. And that's a huge accomplishment. That means, yeah, you're really changing your life
You
and your way
leveled
of
up.
thinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
You leveled up. You
Yep. You leveled up.
completed a chapter, learned a lesson, however you want to look at it, but it's good.
Yep, it's good. So we just hope you enjoyed our little spiel on gratitude. And I don't think we quite have figured out what we're doing next week, but it'll of course
Yeah,
be
so it's
something
a
good.
surprise.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise. Surprise for us too. I love those. All right. Well, thank you for watching. Remember, you can like and subscribe, and also just let us know if you need anything.